So in this video I want to talk about Red Dead Redemption and why I feel that it is, without a doubt, Rockstar's greatest game, as in their greatest creation. Now Rockstar has made some incredible games in the past, but I feel that Red Dead Redemption is without a doubt their best game. So I'm going to go into details why I think it's their best game. So I'm going to go into talk about my own experiences when I played this game. So originally I played Undead Nightmares. I played Undead Nightmares because I love the concept of zombies and Western kind of merged together to form this game, and I loved the atmosphere of the game, the characters, and the gameplay mechanics were all fantastic. There was only a few years later that I decided to buy the full game because I remembered how much I loved that game, the atmosphere, and I wanted to go back and actually play the game as it is rather than the Western zombie hybrid. Red Dead Redemption is a spiritual sequel to Red Dead Revolver, which was released in 2005 on the PlayStation 2. And originally, Red Dead Revolver started life as a Capcom game, and it was originally going to be a very much an arcade style shooter. Eventually the rights to the game was picked up by Rockstar changed the gameplay. They changed it into more of a sandbox like gameplay. In other words, giving you a bigger sense of control and more variety in terms of the world. Red Dead Revolver is a great game. It was a very handsome looking game for its time. It really does a good job setting up the flow of Red Dead Redemption, and it really does a good job of leading the Red Dead franchise. It does a fantastic job of doing that. But it still is very much a Capcom Rockstar hybrid, as in it's not a full Rockstar game. And with Red Dead Redemption, this game is a full-on Rockstar game. This is Rockstar being, I feel like this is Rockstar at its most challenged, as in because it takes place in the early 1900s, while all the Grand Theft Autos, they take place in a contemporary time based. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5, it takes place in present day. San Andreas takes place in the 90s. Vice City takes place in the 80s. So replicating that era is not the biggest challenge. I mean, it is a challenge because there is so much to it, but compared to Red Dead Redemption, it's a little easier on them. Now, I'm going to go into reasons why Red Dead Redemption is better than Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5 has a lot more on Red Dead Redemption. It has more variety in terms of gameplay. It's got more activities for the gamers to do. You've also got a way bigger variety when it comes to transportation, and you also have the radio, which allows the gamers a huge variety of music compared to Red Dead Redemption, which of course doesn't feature radio because, well, your character is going to be riding around on a horse, so and it's the 1900s, so you're not going to have a radio on a freaking horse. But I feel Red Dead Redemption has a step above Grand Theft Auto 5, mainly because it has a greater sense of direction, a greater variety of characters, and overall just a greater sense of atmosphere. Red Dead Redemption was released in 2010. This game is 6 years old, but graphically it is still so sharp. It is still a stunning looking game. It's the type of game in which you have to stop for a sec, just to pause, just to breathe in the atmosphere. Just the skyline in this game is stunning. It has a wonderful color palette between the land and the cliffs and the actual towns itself. It's just absolutely wonderful. The architecture in this game is also spot on. All the buildings look beautifully crafted, all wonderful sense of detail in terms of the material of the building. All of it is wonderful. It really does nail that atmosphere of just the idea of being a cowboy and walking into a saloon, and the bars themselves are incredibly detailed. So much little details in the background, just stunning. I also love the actual look of the actual characters in terms of their facial expressions and their faces as well. Some characters will look dirtier, they're scarred, they've got different kind of facial beards and facial hair, and it's perfect for the time period. All the costumes look fantastic. It's a game that is visually stunning in every sense. Okay, so moving on from the graphic point of view, I want to talk about the atmosphere of the game. And when I mean atmosphere, I mean the actual surroundings of the games. The thing with this game is that it is bursting with atmosphere. I mean, there is never a quiet moment in this game. There is moments where you could be quietly galloping on your horse and all of a sudden bandits come out of nowhere. There's moments where you'll encounter a stranger. There is moments where someone's robbed someone's horse and you can tackle this bandit and save this man's horse. There's moments where you could be attacked by a wild animal. There is so much going on in this game, and it's always happening. You always need to be aware that this is not just a game that just because you're out of a town that it's quiet, something is always happening, which is quite an achievement that they've done, that they've created an atmosphere that is bursting with activity and bursting with just living people, living creatures. Okay, so the gameplay is also absolutely wonderful. It's filled with variety. I mean, whether you're part of horse races or you're herding cattle, it just nails that Western feel. I mean, whether you're going on bounties, whether you're hunting down animals, whether you're rolling with a marshal to take down a bunch of corrupt criminals, it's wonderfully done. They've nailed the gameplay in this game. Even the smaller moments in the game are wonderful, where you're playing poker, all the little mini games. Everything in this game works so incredibly well. Even the shootouts that you may encounter outside of a bar, those duels are incredibly intense and they're incredibly satisfying once you win a duel in this game. Now, the shooting mechanics in this game is also incredible. Very simple. You've seen the shooting mechanics in other games before. The cover shoot type gameplay. It's very familiar from someone who's played another Grand Theft Auto game, but there's something about it that's also satisfying. I think it's just the variety of weapons. There's a certain weight to the weapons. There's the type of weapons you're not too common with. I mean, they're not automatic machine guns or rocket launchers. They're weapons that are from the time period. It's almost like you're playing with antiques, and it just adds to the atmosphere so much because you kind of have that slower kind of reload action, and it doesn't delay the game, it doesn't make it frustrating. It actually adds to the tension of the gameplay, and it makes those headshot moments oh so more satisfying because you just popped out after a long reload and just capped this guy in the head, and it's so satisfying. It nails those moments in those older Western movies, those shootouts, nails them. I think it almost excels those moments. Okay, so moving on from gameplay, I want to talk about the story of the game. And I feel that this is one of Rockstar's strongest stories they've ever formed, they've ever created. The story follows John Marston, and he used to roll with a crew of mischiefs and just bad lads, really. And he kind of turned away from that, and he started a new life, and he leads a family life. And it's a few years after he's rolled with his crew, and he's kind of brought back to find each one of the gang members, hunt them down and kill them so that he can go back to his quieter, more family life. So it's very interesting in the fact that John Marston wants to lead a simple life, and the redemption in the title is very much relevant to John's character, as in he's done horrible things in the past, but this story is his redemption. And it's filled with wonderful characters. It's got a great 3-act structure, great dialogue, great character moments, remarkably good human moments. Story that will leave you kind of heartbroken, and it's a story that it'll be in the back of your head for a long time. It's a great story that's filled with just iconic moments and just iconic little gestures. It's a wonderful story. I feel that the story is incredible, mainly because of the character, John Marston. John Marston, to me, is one of the best video game characters of all time. He's an incredible character. He has this past about him, this sense of history about him, but he's also wants to make him be a better man. He wants to redeem himself. He wants to be a better man so that he can raise his son with better morals than he has. And he's a witty character. He's got this great sense of humor. He's also an incredibly likable character, as he's got these simple goals. He's incredibly honest character as well. He's got this past about him, but he's never lies about it. He's very upfront about it, and that makes him even more of a lovable character. He's very much a character who will do whatever possible to actually save his family or help them in any shape or form. I must give a lot of credit to Rockstar for creating such a wonderful character. I'm going to give the full credit to Rob Wyatoff. Rob Wyatoff done an absolutely incredible job with John Marston's performance. It's such a brilliant, gritty kind of performance, and those smaller moments are greatly appreciated. Those little moments where you're on a horseback talking to Bonnie, those moments are excelled mainly because of Rob's performance. Without a doubt, one of the most underrated performances in a video game. A stunning performance. For those people who say, oh, video games, they don't have got great acting, show them Red Dead Redemption, and they will be blown away by some of the fantastic acting that is in this game. Moving on from talking about story and character, I want to talk about the actual music in the game, because I feel like the music adds so much to the atmosphere, and music always adds to the atmosphere. It's a thing we've seen in TV shows, and we've seen in movies, and also so much so in games. Now, Rockstar are known for giving the gamer a lot of control over what they listen to, but in this case, because it's the 1900s, it's very instrumental based, and this is fantastic. All because I feel all the leitmotifs in this game match up to the Wild of the West, and it really matches up to the world that John Marston lives in and belongs in. And the music score is so good that you completely forget of the idea of a radio. You completely ignore the control you have over what you listen to in the Grand Theft Auto games. It's that in itself is an own achievement. That's just my feelings about Red Dead Redemption. Now, you could have a completely different opinion, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. Put it in the comments section below on how you feel about the Red Dead Redemption series, or how you feel about the Rockstar series, how you feel about the Grand Theft Auto franchise. Just feed the comments section as much as possible. And if you like this video, please give it a like, and share it if you want to, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And once again, thanks again for watching this video.